The Hustle for Holiness by Steve Martin. It's not a religion, it's a relationship. How many times had I heard that phrase? It was supposed to be the antidote to the lifelessness of mere religious obligation. Christianity wasn't a set of rules, they said. It was about building a personal connection with God. But here's the thing they didn't tell me. That relationship was my job. If I wanted closeness with God, it was up to me to cultivate it. Through prayer, quiet time, church involvement, and more. And I threw myself into the work. Oh, did I work! I joined committees, led the children's ministry, helped with the street ministry, and signed up for every opportunity to serve that came my way. I wasn't just involved in the church, I lived and breathed it. I devoured books about how to be a better Christian, went to conferences that promised spiritual breakthroughs, and made it my mission to keep up with all of the spiritual disciplines that they said were necessary to grow in faith. My calendar was full, my energy drained, and my spirit empty. The harder I worked, the further I felt from the peace I was promised. The weight of never enough. The promises were everywhere. Follow Jesus, and you will find peace. Serve the Lord, and your life will overflow with joy. Surrender to God, and He will bless you abundantly. But reality was harsher. There was no peace, no joy, no abundance. Instead, there was a relentless pressure to do more, be more, try harder. The messages were subtle but clear. I wasn't praying enough, wasn't giving enough, wasn't serving enough. I wasn't holy enough, selfless enough, grateful enough. And when I fell short, and of course, I always fell short, there it was again. Guilt, shame, and anxiety. Every sermon seemed to point out what I was doing wrong. Every Christian book reminded me of yet another way I could improve. The truth that no one wanted to say out loud was this: you're never quite good enough. I felt stuck, trapped in a cycle of striving and failing, guilt and rededication, sin and shame. Instead of finding freedom, I found myself bound tighter than ever. Instead of a relationship, I felt like I was checking off an impossible to-do list. And the worst part? I was still sinning. After all of the prayer, all of the Bible studies, all of the service, I still couldn't conquer the darkness inside of me. What was wrong with me? Feeling the tug of something better. And yet, there was a whisper, a tiny, almost imperceptible tug in my heart that said, "This isn't how it's supposed to be." I didn't know where that voice came from, but it planted a seed of doubt. Could there be a different way? Could I escape this endless cycle of guilt and striving? Yet doubt brought its own questions. What would others say if I started asking the hard questions? Could I step away from everything I had built my life around? And what if I was wrong? What if this was all there was, this grinding, soul-draining version of faith? I didn't know the answers, but I knew this: I couldn't stay here. Something had to change. So, I left. I was about to begin a journey I didn't even know I was on, a journey that would turn my understanding of God, faith, and freedom upside down, and I found the peace and freedom I was looking for. But that's a story for another day.